Hey guys, it's been a while. Sorry I haven't reached out to you. I have been trying to give you a little bit more time with some of your other assignments, especially with the secondary research paper. Okay, we're going to talk about this assignment that we're doing today, which is mock interview questions. Okay, that's what I'm going to mostly talk about. But just as an overview of how the semester's going, you do need to get your secondary research paper done. I already have Robin's finished it. Looks great. I haven't graded anything yet, but as of now, that's what I really want you guys to get this one turned in. Okay, if anything else, this is going to be a big portion of what we do this year. Okay, just the one thing. All right, not worried so much about anything else. Okay, but let's go into mock interview questions. Okay, and right here's the assignment. I'm going to have this video posted. I've listed 7 questions. I've had several of these questions asked to me before. Every interview is a little bit different, and it really depends on what job that you're interviewing for. Okay, so I want you to answer these questions as if you were actually interviewing for a job that you applied for, that you would apply for. Okay, so whether that be in a mechanics auto shop, whether that be in a very small kind of business where people are selling things, I don't know, whether it's a big giant corporate business. I want you to practice answering these questions as if you were in an actual interview. Okay, and it's going to be a lot easier answering these questions in your mind beforehand than when you're actually face to face and you're terrified and they're asking you questions. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that think of more interview questions and how you would answer them. How are you going to answer this when you're in this situation? Okay? But for now, it's just, like I said, practice. So let's talk about some of these questions just really quick. Why do you want to work here? Okay, so this is very important. A lot of times when you want to work somewhere, it's just for the money, especially when you're starting off, right? Try to think of, first of all, I don't want you to apply for any job unless you want to work at that job. Okay, there's plenty of jobs out there. You will rarely find yourself in a circumstance where your only options for jobs are jobs that you don't want, that are just kind of getting you from paycheck to paycheck. I know that, in the movies and a lot of people out there, here in Cedar City anyways, here in Utah, I should say, Western United States, we have a lot of options. Okay, so if you want to, for instance, go into movie production, just use that as an example. Okay, what's a starting job that you can use? Okay, probably not working at Wingers or something of that nature. Okay, your starting job you could look around and look for maybe some film editing, okay, or maybe some photo editing, or maybe photography, something. Think of broad areas that you can start off making minimum wage or even a little bit more, okay? And then you work your way. Even if you're trying to go through school, you want to have a job that's kind of relative to what you want to do, okay? Even if it's small, okay? Look around. It's not always an option. So, for instance, me being a teacher, I could have gone to a school and done teaching things, but they didn't pay enough. So sometimes, yeah, you do have to work in jobs that you don't necessarily connect so well. But, what am I teaching? I taught business, so I worked in a market research company doing phone calls, right? Be creative. Think outside the box. I mean, this conversation could go on and on, but I'll move on. Why you want to work there, it's got to matter. It's got to mean something. Even if you have to make something up, even if you have to stretch the line a little bit, I'd really like to work in fast food because I want to get better at, talking to people. I don't know. So, totally up to your creativity there, okay? What motivates you? This is your question. This is going to be, somebody's going to ask you that someday, and you're going to draw a blank, and you're going to be like, I don't know, what does motivate me? Some of these questions you just haven't thought about before, okay? What are your goals for the future? Once again, something that you should have in mind so that when somebody asks you that, you're not like, I don't know. A lot of times the reason why employers ask you these questions is to see if you're just kind of going through life, if you're just doing things just because you're told to do them, or if you're actually thinking about your life, if you're motivated, if you've got goals, right? Maybe they'll ask you like, what's your 5 or 10-year plan? And if you don't have a plan, I mean, it doesn't look that great, okay? Okay, so how do you work under pressure? Think of a very clear response to this. Maybe even a good idea is to think of specifics, okay? Under pressure, under what circumstance? Okay, maybe there's a deadline. Maybe under pressure because you've got a boss that's breathing down your neck. Think of ways that you could professionally answer that question, okay? Describe a time when your boss was wrong. How did you handle that situation? Now that's a very interesting question. This is kind of asking you about how your behavior is, right? How you would react in certain circumstances. Everyone kind of knows that nobody's perfect, right? And so everyone's going to make mistakes. That's why I love that question. How do you handle a situation that probably will arise or has arisen already? Okay. How do you work well with others? That's also what they're questioning. Some of these questions are asking two things at once. Actually, they all are trying to pull different things from each question. Each question is very specific to what that interviewer is trying to get from the interviewee, right? Okay, so do you think you could have done better in your last job? You got to be careful with this. This can be a double-edged sword. Do you think you could have done better? Well, if you say, I could have done way better. The reason why you might want to answer that way is to say, oh man, I'm always trying to look forward. I'm always trying to find new ways to improve. So that's good, but at the same time, you don't want them to think, I didn't do a great job and it's because I was lazy, So think of a creative way to answer that question. I know that can be fairly difficult. Do you think you could have done a better job in your last job, or do you think you could have done better? Maybe a good way of answering this would be to say, kind of skate the question. I am always looking for new ways to improve, and I think with my knowledge and experience now, if I started that job, I could have done better, but for the time being, I did the best that I can, but I'm always trying to move forward and do better things. So maybe that would be a good way to answer that question, depending on. Maybe you can give specific examples. And giving very specific examples, like I was working with this person doing this thing, and I didn't know about this or that, so I could have done better had I known. But what I did here, and then maybe tell them how you solved this problem. Okay, telling your boss how you solved the problem, being specific, is really good for a job interview. Okay. Do you have any questions? This is going to be it's honestly the hardest question to answer, to give them a question back. You have to think and do your research to that company beforehand. Okay. If you don't have any questions, this is also kind of a double-edged sword. If you don't have any questions, you might say, no, I don't have any questions because, I'm good. I really want this job. No questions asked. I'm gonna jump in and do. So that's a great attitude to have. But really, the reason why they say, do you have any questions, is because they're more curious or interested to see if you are interested in the job. Like, are you really asking all angles? Do you really want the job? Like, are you trying to figure out what's going on here, or are you just kind of hoping, throwing in a coin in a well and hoping that something good comes from it, right? Do you have any questions is very important to not say no to. Okay? Do you have any questions? The correct answer is not no. Kind of a double negative there. The correct answer is, either yes, I do have some questions, and then you ask your questions about the specific company. Those questions don't have to be terribly complex. They can be simple. They don't really necessarily want to be too simple. I did an entire chapter when I was in college on questions for interviews. Questions are a very interesting concept. Even questions, me asking you as students for like a test or something like that. People get paid a lot of money to come up with good questions. Actually, I think it's $100 a question for the ATC or the ATC for teachers to create questions like that. You have to be invited to create them, and then you create some questions, and if they decide they're good, you get $100 for it. I mean, the art of asking a question is crazy. I don't want you to go too far into that, but I do want you to understand that saying no is not the correct answer. Saying maybe not at this time, that would be a better answer, but not no. Okay? Okay, so I think that's everything. Get this turned in as soon as possible. It's due May 1st. Okay?